Hey everyone, ready to explore a world where tradition meets technology? We're diving into online betting in Ethiopia, and let me tell you, it's a scene that's exploding right now.
Yeah, it's fascinating, really. You've got this huge surge in online platforms, but internet access is limited in Ethiopia. It creates this interesting dynamic.
It really does, and that's where our source for this deep dive, betplace.us, comes in. They review and rank these platforms. So it gives us a roadmap to this whole new world. What surprised me was that even with those limitations, the Ethiopian betting scene, especially among young people, is booming.
Yeah, it's not just a recent thing either. The government legalized sports betting way back in 2012, and since then, over 45 companies have jumped in. It's created this really diverse market with local and international players.
It's like a gold rush, but for betting slips. And the cool part of it's not just your typical football bets. BetPlace.us highlights platforms offering everything from sports betting and online casinos to these really cool interactive games and even esports.
It shows you how much variety there is. It reflects how the types of people who are betting in Ethiopia are changing, and these platforms have to cater to all sorts of interests. Like, take 1xBet, for example. They're laser focused on sports, no casino stuff. They have a ton of sports and live betting options. They're going after the serious sports fans who want to get in on the action.
Smart strategy, especially with football being so huge here. But it's not just the Premier League or the Bundesliga attracting bets. BetPlace.us points out the Ethiopian Premier League is huge here too. There's a lot of local interest.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where understanding the odds is so important. Platforms like 1xBet and Betway, another big one with loads of sports, are all about offering competitive odds to attract bettors. But it's not just about finding the highest odds. BetPlace.us talks a lot about this idea of value betting.
Okay, now that sounds interesting. What exactly is value betting? And why should we care?
Well, think of it this way. It's not just about winning a bet. It's about getting the best return over time. Value betting means you're looking for bets where the odds being offered are higher than you think they should be based on the actual probability of the outcome.
So it's like finding those hidden gems where the bookmakers might have miscalculated a bit, giving you an advantage.
Exactly. That's where research comes in. You got to have a keen eye to spot discrepancies and use data and insights to your advantage. BetPlace.us really dives into that, which I think is really helpful for anyone who wants to become a better bettor.
It's like you're outsmarting the system. But in this world of betting, it feels like you got to stay ahead of the game. Speaking of which, BetPlace.us highlights another interesting trend, the rise of other sports. It's not just football anymore.
That's right. Football may be king, but basketball and tennis are gaining popularity. And for the younger, tech-savvy crowd, esports betting is becoming a big thing.
Yeah, I can see how esports, with its fast pace and unpredictability, would be a perfect fit for online betting. But there's another factor that's completely changed access to betting here: mobile money.
Absolutely. The launch of Telebur was a game changer. Platforms like Habesha Bet, Harif Sport, and even Hulu Sport, which BetPlace.us says is Ethiopia's premier platform, have integrated Telebur really well. It's made depositing and withdrawing fines super easy.
So even with limited internet access in some places, mobile betting is opening up a whole new world of possibilities. It's like technology is overcoming those infrastructure hurdles.
It is. It's a great example of how innovation can drive accessibility, even when there are challenges. And I think that's what's so exciting about the Ethiopian betting scene. You've got this unique blend of those traditional betting shops and this rapidly evolving online landscape, all powered by mobile technology.
It's a perfect storm of factors, and BetPlace.us gives you a snapshot of how it's all happening. But it's not just about access and technology, it's also about incentives. BetPlace.us goes deep into the world of bonuses. And wow, there are a lot of them.
There are welcome bonuses, free bets, loyalty rewards, accumulator bonuses, you name it. Platforms are doing everything they can to get new players and keep them engaged. But it's not just about the amount of the bonus. It's about understanding the terms and conditions.
Right. A huge bonus might sound tempting, but if the wagering requirements are super high, it might not be such a great deal in the end.
Exactly. And that's where BetPlace.us is helpful. They break it all down and even have a guide on how to claim bonuses so you can make the most of them and avoid any hidden surprises.
It's like having your own betting guru guiding you through the fine print. But with all these platforms and offers, how do we know who to trust? Security and reliability have to be top priorities, right?
They do, and BetPlace.us agrees. They say it's so important to choose platforms licensed by reliable authorities, especially the Ethiopia Lottery Board. It's like a seal of approval, ensuring the platform meets certain standards of fairness and security.
So it's not just about flashy bonuses, it's about making sure our money and information are safe.
Exactly. And BetPlace.us highlights Betway as a good example. They're committed to operating only in legally permitted areas and focus on transparency and protecting users.
It's good to know there are platforms out there prioritizing ethical practices, and BetPlace.us makes it clear those are the ones worth exploring. But it's not just sports betting, is it? The online casino scene in Ethiopia is also getting bigger, with platforms offering everything from slots and table games to those really immersive live dealer experiences.
It's a whole other world, for sure. But this is where things get a little tricky. The rules around online casinos in Ethiopia are still developing.
So while sports betting is clearly regulated, online casinos are more of a gray area.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why BetPlace.us says it's important to choose platforms with licenses from reputable places like Malta or Curacao. It adds an extra layer of security and makes sure the games are fair. They suggest platforms like Habsabet, Melbet, WalliaBet, and ActiveBet as good places to start.
It's like you're exploring uncharted territory, but with a guide showing you the safest paths. Speaking of uncharted territory, let's talk about live betting. It's become so popular in the online betting world, and it seems like it's taking things to a whole new level.
It's the adrenaline rush of betting as the game is happening, right? BetPlace.us calls it an immersive experience where you're reacting to every goal, every point, every change in the game. They talk about how features like real-time updates, live stats, and streaming make that experience even better. It makes you feel like you're right there at the game.
And they explain different types of bets you could make, like on the match outcome, next goal score, and total points. You can really get into the details of the game. But with all that excitement, it feels like responsible gambling is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Live betting can be really exciting, but you have to stay grounded and approach it with a clear head. BetPlace.us really emphasizes that, reminding us to set clear limits, manage your money well, and never chase losses.
Because getting caught up in the excitement of the moment can be intoxicating, and it's easy to get carried away. But let's be real, payment options are a big part of this too. And in Ethiopia, it seems like mobile money is king.
Definitely. Burr and Teleger have changed how people do transactions here, and BetPlace.us highlights their speed and ease of use as major advantages for people who are betting.
They also mention the option of traditional bank transfers, through places like the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, if you prefer that.
It's good to have choices, right? Pick what works best for you. But one thing BetPlace.us emphasizes is the importance of checking those withdrawal options and any limits there might be, like how much you can withdraw or how long it takes. You don't want any surprises when you're ready to collect your winnings.
It's like reading the fine print before you sign anything. Speaking of fine print, let's talk about something that's important to us: responsible gambling.
It's where things get real, right? Betting should be fun and entertaining. It shouldn't cause financial or emotional stress.
Absolutely, and BetPlace.us makes that point really clear. They offer some practical tips too, like setting a budget and sticking to it, knowing the signs of problem gambling, and using those tools like deposit limits that most platforms have.
And it's really good that they mention resources available in Ethiopia, like counseling and support groups. It shows that they care about the well-being of the people who are betting.
It's a good reminder that even in this exciting world where there's potential to make money, your health and well-being come first. Speaking of looking ahead, what do you think the future holds for betting in Ethiopia? It feels like it's just the beginning.
It's definitely an exciting time to be following this industry. BetPlace.us points to the incredible growth of sports betting globally, and they suggest Ethiopia is on a similar path. They mention how internet access is increasing in Ethiopia as a major driver of this growth.
So even with the limitations we have now, the future for online betting looks bright.
Absolutely, but there are challenges too. We need clear rules and regulations, and further development in technology is crucial for sustained growth. BetPlace.us says responsible gambling and innovation are key for a sustainable and thriving betting industry.
It's a balancing act, for sure. But with careful thought and a commitment to doing things the right way, the future looks incredibly promising. And with that, we wrap up part one of our deep dive into the Ethiopian betting scene. We've covered a lot, but there's so much more to explore.
Yeah, we've seen how tradition and technology are shaping this market, from the rise of mobile money to the growing popularity of esports and the crucial role of responsible gambling.
Stay tuned for part two, where we'll dig deeper into how to evaluate betting sites, the excitement of live betting, and the world of online casinos. Until then, keep those insights from betplace.us in mind. And remember, the best bet is an informed bet.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Ethiopian betting scene.
We've covered a lot, from the impact of mobile money to the importance of responsible gambling. But let's get practical. How do we actually pick a platform? There are so many out there.
You're telling me that's where BetPlace.us helps a lot. They've analyzed all these platforms, looking at the stuff that matters to people like us. Things like user experience, security, and payment options. They're the big ones.
So it's not just about going for the biggest bonus. There's more to it than that.
Way more. Let's start with user experience. Imagine a website that's clunky and confusing. Ugh, you'd give up before placing a bet. BetPlace.us says a good platform should be intuitive, easy to use, and, mobile friendly.
Makes sense. Everyone's on their smartphones these days.
Right, but it's not just about looking good. BetPlace.us says the odds need to be presented clearly. No one wants to be squinting at tiny numbers trying to figure out what they mean.
Definitely. We need to be able to understand what we're betting on and what we might win.
Exactly. And a smooth process is just more enjoyable, right?
For sure. But as nice as a good-looking site is, security is even more important. BetPlace.us reminds us that scams and data breaches are real threats online.
They are. So how do we know if a platform is trustworthy? Any red flags we should watch out for?
Licensing is a big one.
Right, huge. BetPlace.us stresses choosing platforms licensed by reputable authorities, especially the Ethiopia Lottery Board. It's like a guarantee they're legitimate and meet the standards for fairness and security and all that.
Like having someone looking out for us. But what about those behind-the-scenes security measures? I mean, we're putting our money and personal information out there.
You're right to be careful. BetPlace.us talks about strong security measures like encryption, to protect your data. It's like a shield for your information.
Okay, licensing, encryption, what else? Do you think those online reviews are helpful?
They can be. BetPlace.us says to check what other Beckers are saying. Are they happy with the platform, with fairness, payouts, customer service? Are they complaining about anything fishy?
Like getting the insider scoop. But what if something goes wrong? Who do we turn to?
Good customer service is key. BetPlace.us says a good platform has several ways to get support, like live chat, email, even phone support. They should be helpful, responsive, and speak different languages, ideally.
So it's about having peace of mind, knowing there's help if you need it. But let's talk about payments. I mean, in Ethiopia, it's all about mobile money, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Amber and Telliger have changed the game here. BetPlace.us says good betting sites should offer these for fast and easy deposits and withdrawals.
They mentioned regular bank transfers, too, for people who prefer that.
It's good to have options, but BetPlace.us says we should check for any limits, like how much you can deposit or withdraw or how long it takes. Transparency is important.
So know the rules before you play, right?
Right. So with all this in mind, let's look at those big platforms we mentioned before. What does BetPlace.us say about them?
Okay, let's go one by one.
Well, they really break it down. Like 1xBet, for example, they get high marks for their selection of sports, their live betting, and their mobile app is really good. Seems like they've got that user experience down.
What about Bet365? They're a global name, right?
Yep, and they get praise for their easy-to-use interface, lots of betting options, and a focus on live streaming.
Okay, and Batika, I hear that's popular here.
Super popular. They're known for their interactive features, jackpot games, and how well they work with Telebur.
And 22Bet, they're licensed in Uganda and the UK, right?
Yeah, they seem to offer extra peace of mind, plus they have tons of sports to bet on and a loyalty program.
What about Melbet?
They seem to target new players, with big welcome bonuses and support in multiple languages.
And then there's Mulu Sport. That's Ethiopia's own, isn't it?
It is. They focus on high odds and popular bets. It's like a buffet of options, each with its own strengths. But BetPlace.us reminds us the best platform is the one that fits your needs.
True. Do you want a huge range of sports? Live streaming, a great mobile app, bonuses.
Exactly. Find what matters to you. And that's where BetPlace.us is so helpful. They give you the knowledge to make a good choice.
Speaking of choices, let's talk about live betting. It's all about those in-the-moment bets, reacting to what's happening in the game.
It's like you're right there at the stadium and feeling the energy.
They talk about things like real-time updates, live stats, and streaming. It sounds so immersive.
It does. And they don't just tell you what it is. They break down the different bets you can make, like betting on who will score next or the final score.
But with all that excitement, responsible gambling is key, right? It feels like live betting could be addictive if you're not careful.
You're absolutely right. BetPlace.us really stresses that. Set limits, manage your money, and never chase losses. The thrill shouldn't make you lose your head.
It's about enjoying the experience, not getting swept up in it. But, online betting isn't the only option. Those betting shops are still popular in Ethiopia.
They are. BetPlace.us mentions them too, saying they offer that social, in-person experience that a lot of people like.
It's about that shared energy, cheering with your friends, right? And it's an option for people who don't have reliable internet or prefer a more traditional setting.
Exactly. But even in those shops, responsible gambling is just as important.
It's a reminder that no matter where you bet, being responsible and informed is key. Now let's talk about online casinos. Slots, table games, even live dealer games.
A whole other world, but as we said before, the rules around online casinos are a bit less clear compared to sports betting.
So how do we know which casinos are legit? What are the signs?
Licenses. BetPlace.us really stresses that. Look for reputable licenses from places like Malta or Curacao. It's a good sign that the platform is real and the games are fair.
They also mention checking for things like independent audits to make sure the games are random.
Right. And of course, reading reviews from other players can give you an idea of a casino's reputation. BetPlace.us mentions platforms like HebiaBet, Melbet, WallyBet, and ActiveBet as decent starting points, but always do your own research.
So it's like stepping into a casino, but armed with knowledge instead of just luck. But no matter what you're betting on, whether it's sports, live games, or casino games, responsible gambling is crucial.
Totally. Setting limits, managing your money, and recognizing those warning signs is so important. Betting should be entertainment, not a source of stress or problems.
Welcome back. It feels like we've only just dipped our toes into this betting world, and yet here we are, the final part of our deep dive.
It's been a journey, from choosing a platform and figuring out those odds to the rush of live betting and those online casinos.
Now let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about the economic side, but there are concerns about the social impact too. It's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a complex issue, and BetPlace.us talks about this too. They acknowledge the revenue generated for the government, the jobs it creates, and that it's entertainment for a lot of people.
But they also point out the potential problems, like gambling addiction, people getting into debt, especially those who might already be struggling.
It's a tough balance to find where the good outweighs the bad, and it's not something one person or group can solve.
It's like you need everyone on board, right? Government, businesses, and individuals all working together.
Exactly. BetPlace.us emphasizes the need for clear rules and regulations that protect players, ensure fair competition, and prevent things like underage gambling.
And from the business side, those platforms need to promote responsible gambling. Think of things like providing resources and education, setting limits on deposits, and maybe even giving people a way to exclude themselves if they need a break.
Yeah, those tools are so important. But in the end, it comes down to personal responsibility, too. People need to be aware of the risks, set limits for themselves, and know when to get help.
It's about building a culture where betting is about having fun, not chasing losses, or getting caught in a bad cycle.
Speaking of the future, where do you think things are headed for betting in Ethiopia? It feels like it's changing so fast.
It's moving at warp speed. One thing BetPlace.us talks about, and we've touched on it, is the rise of mobile betting. As more people have smartphones, those platforms are going to become the main way people access this world.
And we can expect even more innovation there. Think about things like personalized recommendations, maybe social betting features where you can connect with other players, even augmented reality experiences that blend the virtual and real world.
Wow, that sounds like something out of a movie. And what about live betting? It feels like that's only going to get bigger and more advanced.
I think so too. BetPlace.us predicts new types of bets will emerge, even better streaming, and better tools for analyzing data so bettors can get even more insights in real time.
So it's not just reacting, it's about having the data to make better decisions on the fly.
Right. And then there's esports. That's a whole other world that's attracting younger people. BetPlace.us sees a lot of potential for growth there.
It's like the lines between traditional sports and esports are blurring, which creates all sorts of new opportunities for betting and fan engagement.
It does, but here's a question I find interesting. How will the Ethiopian betting market fit into the global industry? Will it become a big player on the international stage?
Will we see Ethiopian platforms expanding to other countries? Or will the market here stay more local, shaped by things that are specific to Ethiopia?
That's a tough one. Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. The Ethiopian betting scene is exciting, innovative, and has a lot of potential.
It's a story that's still unfolding. We're lucky to be watching it happen.
Absolutely. As we wrap up our deep dive, let's recap some of the key things we've learned.
Okay, what are the big takeaways for our listeners?
First, remember that betting can be a lot of fun, but you gotta be responsible.
Set limits, manage your money, and never chase those losses. Your well-being is the most important thing.
Agreed. Second, the Ethiopian betting market has so much to offer, with options for everyone, no matter how experienced you are.
So do your research, compare the platforms, look at the odds, and find the one that's the best fit for you.
And third, the future for betting in Ethiopia looks really promising. Technology is getting better, the market is growing, and hopefully those rules and regulations will become clearer.
Stay informed, be open to new things, and help create a responsible and sustainable betting environment.
Exactly. And lastly, knowledge is power. The more you know, the better decisions you can make. Engage in those conversations about the role of betting in society.
BetPlace.us has been a great guide for us, offering valuable insights and showing us how complex this world really is.
I agree. Hopefully, this deep dive has given you the knowledge and tools to navigate the Ethiopian betting world confidently and make smart choices.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, remember to bet responsibly, and may the odds be ever in your favor.